Skybrooke Farm is located in Mocksville, North Carolina, where we raise registered Romney and CVM sheep primarily for wool production. We also have a few alpaca on the farm that we use for blending with our wool. We chose the Romney breed first because I fell in love with the texture and shades of color from the natural color fleece, and they have the cutest teddy bear faces ever, but they're also a great dual purpose breed with very versatile wool. They're good mothers and gentle in nature. Romney wool is just really amazing and enjoyable to spin if you're a hand spinner. Their wool is great for outerwear, it wears a long time, and they're the finest micron count of the long wool breeds, which just adds more, versatility to their wool. Last year we added CVM Romeldale sheep to the flock for finer fleeces. As a hand spinner, it's always a joy to spin from different breeds, and this is one that I've really enjoyed spinning consistently. You can see here the difference in the fleece between the Romney and CVM. I learned to shear our flock, which only gets better every year. I'm sure that the people who process our wool at the mill are very grateful for that. But to really help understand our wool structure, I learned to shear, and then washing, carding, processing it, and then turning it into our hand spun yarn, or it goes off to a fiber mill. It's so satisfying to see your sheep's wool into skeins. And each skein is really the story of a year in that sheep's life, from nutrition, stress, lambing. It all affects wool quality. And it's really amazing how you can see the luster and lock structure change year after year depending on what happened with that sheep. And then, thinking about what someone's going to do with your yarn from your flock. And that's always amazing, and what goes into each stitch. And then in a hand spun skein, kind of what was I thinking when I spun it up? It's part of your life that goes into its production. So it's really farming from start to finish, the day-to-day care of the sheep that goes into creating that fleece and then into yarn. I could not have done this without my husband Chase. He's just been a real trooper about, having sheep. I've had this dream of owning sheep and showing sheep at the fair since I was, really little. We used to go to the Dixie Classic every year, and I love seeing the sheep, in the arena. And I always wanted one that I could lead around with a halter. And we used to live in Charlotte, and we moved home, and so we finally moved back to our hometown. We, thought that we could, do a few sheep. And since Chase is a mechanical engineer, he was very happy to put together a barn and fence layout and make the dream a reality. This is the farm that first summer that we were doing construction, and we took all the cedar posts from the land and dragged them out of the woods and put it up, and then Chase built the barn, and we did everything together. It was a hot summer, and then Chase designed this and put everything together, and we've added to it since then, and we use this as a central location for the sheep to get all of their food and water through the year, and it makes it really easy for me to maintain one location. And this is the run that we use to shuffle sheep from one paddock to another. We use rotational grazing, so it's really easy to open one gate, close another, and they have access to a new pasture. Our paddocks now are a little big. They're an acre, and some are like 3/4, so it's a little too big. They don't graze it quite evenly, so we might subdivide. I think with every new skill, we're always learning how to do things better and more efficiently. And we strive to always improve how we take care of our animals. And, even a small example of that is here. I wish I'd learned how to do a quick release knot instead of having sheep going other someone else when we were doing halter training. Another reason why we really enjoy the sheep is because Mason is such a joy to watch, interacting with the sheep and appreciating animals at such an early age. And I don't think they really learn, anywhere else other than in this setting. And it's pretty amazing. Is he your favorite sheep? Is that Mitt's wool?
I heard Mitt.
My grandfather shared his love of sheep with me. He raised Cheviots and always talked about the quiet joy that sheep bring their shepherds. And he would come to visit the farm even at 101 to come visit the sheep and see our Jersey cow Charlotte and her calf. And it was just, just so peaceful to sit there at the farm and watch sheep come up and, and talk about them together. And we also enjoy having visitors to the farm. And I know during this year it's been kind of crazy, but we've done our best to, have people come, share the sheep, get hands-on, touch wool, feel lanolin, smell the sheep. And I think that experience for people who are not on a farm on a daily basis is quite rewarding. So that first year we had sheep, we did show, and Carson, our beautiful ram, he did win, and so did another sheep of ours, Aria. And it was a lot of fun just to be part of the action. It was our first time showing. They were probably not the best clip or fitted sheep, and I just enjoyed being in part of that sheep community immensely. Lambing is another fun time on the farm. And in the spring when the lambs are bouncing and, everything, it just seems full of life. It's really fun to watch Mason play with lambs and hug every single one of them. And you get so attached. And you love that they go to new homes and hopefully they go to fiber farms. And it's just a real joy. Our goal in our breeding program has primarily been for fleece and breeding for finer and finer fleeces within the Romney breed. And then, of course, I love the natural colors, so we've primarily focused our ram and our ewes on natural color and picking the darker shades of grays because they have such lovely gunmetal to light silvery grays. And it's just a lot of fun to see how the lambs are going to turn out. Last year we only had a few breeding ewes. We had, I think, 10, and I culled quite heavily in the spring. So this year I think we have 8 breeding ewes, and we have a total of 15 sheep now, and hopefully we'll add some more this spring. But we're always trying to improve our breeding stock and the fleeces that we get year after year. So last year we added organic sea kelp to the ewes' diets to hopefully help with their fleece production, and it really made a huge difference. And I think that just shows the true science behind nutrition and fleece, how it can be improved with one simple additive. We really enjoyed having sheep, and part of that is that sheep community that you really enjoy interacting with and learning how to manage parasites better on your farm. How are you managing it this year? What are you doing with your hooves? Are you having any other issues? Or how's your fly control? I think those things are so important when you are, especially a small producer and you're relatively new, so you're learning as you're going. And there's a steep learning curve when you first get your sheep on the farm. It's like, oh my gosh, we really have them. But I do love that personal connection with each sheep, and when you can recognize your sheep out in the pasture by name, and I don't know, that feel of raw wool that you get with the sheep, or when you leave the pasture and your pants now smell like lanolin because you took a tour through the farm and everyone had to say hello to you. Our goal for the farm has always been to be good shepherds and shepherdesses, and to really be good stewards of the land. And how can we produce quality sheep with fewer chemicals and less dependence on, pesticides? And I think that we're going to try and do some new things this year. I think we're going to try and work with purple martins and bluebirds to have them help with our fly control in the summer. And we'll see if that'll help us reduce our chemical usage. But it's also to create awareness for wool and its many purposes. That there's more than one type of wool to use. There's not just merino that is soft or that has a purpose. And then it really does keep you warmer in winter than a cotton or a lanolin. And I know that we know these things, but I think sometimes we forget where the wool that we wear comes from and the commitment and time that farmers put into producing that quality wool. Sheep have really given back to us every single day. There's a funny story to tell. Someone's got their head in a bucket. Once we had a sheep, Star, who got her head stuck in a step stool ladder that was hung up, so I don't know how she got it down. And then we had a helpful neighbor who thought it would be okay for them to come over and use a chainsaw to cut it off of her neck, even though wool compresses and she can slip her head right through. But, we always have funny farm stories or disasters or kids falling in a mud puddle that's not really a mud puddle. And that's just part of, the day-to-day enrichment that is farming. It is, but you can use it. Mike. I hope this snapshot into our farm has been helpful for you and inspires you to use wool from your local producers and to seek out farmers and see what you can find and explore there. Please follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and we have a website at skybrookfarm.com. And we hope that you'll come out and visit us soon. Thank you.